Kyle Whittingham is coming to Michigan, and I want to talk about the offensive staff that I think could end up being his staff at Michigan because his Utah offense did just average 41 points. The quarterback coach and offensive coordinator, I believe, is going to be Jason Beck. He was the coordinator this past year at Utah whenever, like I said, they had a great offense. Before that, he was at New Mexico. Obviously, brought Devin Dampier with him and developed him great. A lot of people are talking about Grant Newsome. I'm not too awful attached to Grant Newsome. I think he's done a good job recruiting, but I think a lot of that was also tied to Sharon Moore. I want Jim Harding, the Utah offensive line coach. If you don't know, Utah is an offensive line machine. They've probably got a top 5 pick in Spencer Fano playing right tackle for them. Their left tackle is one of the best tackles in America. They obviously are recruiting very well right now. I mentioned this in a previous video, but Obo is obviously a big time recruit, and he was tied to Michigan. He was tied to Texas, and Utah beat them out. Could he come with his OC and with his offensive line coach? This is Freddie Whittingham, who is obviously related to Kyle Whittingham, who is also Utah's tight end coach, and we know that Utah turns out tight ends at a pretty high level. They're pretty productive at that position. I would expect them to bring him along. I know that you've been waiting on this one. Tony Alford is going to stay in Michigan. Michigan wants to keep him. They're actually offering him more money to stay, I believe, so I think that he will do that as long as he wants to be a Wolverine, which means, yes, Savion Hyder will stay attached to Michigan most likely. If we're just being honest, there's not a whole lot of ways you can upgrade from a guy like Tony Alford, not only because of what he's done in recruiting with a guy like Hyder, but he's developed Jordan Marshall, he's developed Justice Haynes, who people were out on, by the way, before he came to Michigan. I think that Whittingham could retain Ron Bellamy. I hope he doesn't. I think he could bring the Utah wide receiver coach. I wouldn't mind that. I think it would be an upgrade. I think it could maybe bring Salisi Moa, who is the nation's number 6 wide receiver. That being said, the option that I would look the hardest at would be Billy Gonzalez, who was most recently at Florida, who's obviously very well respected because whenever Billy Napier got fired, he was the interim head coach. Just a small nugget, and yes, this does play a little bit of a factor in my decision, but all those Florida wide receivers are really good. They're really athletic. They all win downfield, and they're in the portal. So that is what I think Michigan's offensive staff likely will look like under Kyle Whittingham. Obviously, there will be a few different changes. I'm sure there's going to be some twists and turns, but a lot of those guys I think will be Wolverines. Let me hear your thoughts in the comments and follow me for more Michigan football content.